covering news where you live. This is 5 News at
The Trump administration sends a new deportation flight to Venezuela as the president's use of a wartime law to fast-track removals heads back to court. The issue now before a federal appeals panel.
Even if you think you have a pretty good handle, it doesn't hurt to go check if it's free.
And a free website lets you check if you have any 401k money out there that you may not know about or may have forgotten. We'll have the details coming up. Well, the Department of Justice announced this morning plans to deport 3 more alleged Venezuelan gang members using a wartime authority. That's despite a court order halting such actions, and it's an issue before a federal appeals panel this afternoon.
Trump administration officials tell CBS News nearly 200 migrants, including alleged members of the Tren de Aragua gang, were on board a Sunday deportation flight to Venezuela. It comes ahead of a major court hearing this afternoon over the president's use of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to expedite deportations, something administration officials have staunchly defended.
This is supposed to apply if the U.S. is at war with a country. You are saying you have evidence that the government of Venezuela is directing these gangs?
We are saying that TDA is acting as a proxy of the Maduro regime. This is how the Alien and Sedition Act applies.
Mm-hmm.
But a federal judge directed the administration to halt the deportation flights stemming from that wartime law, raising concerns about a lack of due process for the migrants. It's a decision the DOJ appealed. The administration has not provided evidence or details about how gang affiliations were determined, with some family members of the migrants deported disputing ties to Tren de Aragua. And the administration is vowing to continue mass deportations of undocumented migrants.
I don't care what that judges think. As far as this case, we're going to continue to arrest public safety threats and national security threats. We're going to continue to deport them from the United States.
CBS News has confirmed reports the IRS is close to an agreement to share tax data to help immigration officials find migrants in the U.S. illegally. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
All right, so far today, it's been absolutely gorgeous outside. Daytime highs today eventually reaching up into the 70s. Mostly sunny skies today. The only change coming for the midweek is that next cold front. A weak cold front moves in by the time we get to Wednesday. Going to make things a little bit cooler. But outside of that, those rain chances for the end of the week into the weekend going to be the big story. Current temperatures out there right now near picture perfect. Upper 60s across northwest Arkansas. Upper 60s across the River Valley, reaching into the low 70s in some areas as well. Again, we're still going to warm up by the time we get to late this afternoon. Back up into those mid to upper 70s. Northwest Arkansas, the rest of the day today looks like this. Really nice outside. Our daytime highs will eventually reach up into the mid 70s. Nice this evening across the River Valley. We're going to be seeing a nice evening as well, staying into those 60s late tonight. We'll talk about some rain chances towards the weekend coming up.
Thanks, Stephen. Well, food banks say they are concerned about the impact the cuts the White House is making to the federal budget will have on their mission. Emery Bryan has the details on how one Eastern Oklahoma food bank is planning to meet the needs of their community.
The Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma has plenty of local support, everything from the volunteers who package up produce to the school students who collect canned goods to donate. But the food bank also relies on the USDA to provide both funding and commodities to decrease hunger.
Right now, I think what we're seeing is concerning, but not an emergency. But if all the cuts that are being talked about actually happen, it's going to be an emergency level event.
Bernard estimates Oklahoma will lose $25 million from the USDA cuts already announced. And prior, that helped the school district buy ground beef from a local producer, supporting both farmers and schools feeding students.
So that was money that was flowing directly to food banks and to schools to purchase from local farmers meat, eggs, and produce.
The USDA supports a network that meets some of the need for 1 in 3 Oklahomans. Hunger Free Oklahoma estimates 420,000 students get free or reduced lunch at school, and 600,000 Oklahomans receive SNAP benefits. SNAP is the largest USDA food assistance program, and cuts to that are also possible.
Our state relies on SNAP. SNAP brings in more than $1 billion a year to help hungry folks. If you see big cuts there, that is a recipe for disaster.
New numbers are showing how much Americans are paying at the grocery store compared to this time last year. Poultry, pork, and milk saw average prices decline from January to February, but the cost of other pantry staples like cereals, baked goods, and seafood increased. That's according to the Food at Home Index, which rose nearly 2% over the last 12 months. The report is a key measure of inflation based on food consumed at home.
Every year they're rising about 2%, which is pretty close to the overall rate of inflation. We all should buckle in here and expect food prices to continue to rise at a healthy pace.
The report also found egg prices are nearly 59% higher than they were this time last year. The cost of beef is up more than 7.5% since February of last year. And losing track of your retirement savings may sound unlikely, but it happens a lot more than you think. Millions of Americans have 401k accounts from previous jobs that they've forgotten about. Well, now the Department of Labor has a new tool to help people track down those lost funds. For a lot of people, that could be thousands of dollars of forgotten money. Accounting experts say as people change jobs more frequently, many lose track of old accounts, leaving those funds behind. It's called the Retirement Savings Lost and Found Database, and the department says it helps Americans track down misplaced 401k accounts. Users can put in their information and past employers to check for any accounts they may have forgotten. Accounting professor Usha Ratcliffe says there are about 30 million forgotten 401k accounts in the country. That adds up to more than $1.5 trillion in unclaimed retirement savings.
There's been a lot of movement, and sometimes people forget. They forget who they work for, maybe how much money they had, what they put in there.
The Department of Labor says the tool is user-friendly, secure, and it can all be done online. Well, Walmart is investing in and revamping its gas stations and convenience stores. They say they plan to remodel over 45 locations across the country in 2025. Walmart recently opened its 400th gas station in Palm Springs, California. They plan for that number to be 450 by the end of the year. Well, the next chapter in the years-long fight over Pope County's casino license is playing out in federal court this week. The Cherokee Nation is trying to reclaim its license for a $320 million resort after Arkansas voters struck it down in the November election. The tribe says that move violated the U.S. Constitution, and now a federal judge will decide if the casino still has a path forward. The trial starts tomorrow, and Pope County Judge Ben Cross, a supporter of the project, is expected to testify. Well, strong winds over the past week have left plenty of damage across the state, enough to send many rushing to make roof repairs. Both roofers and insurance companies have been getting service calls due to things like missing shingles or downed trees. And they say if you've experienced things like that, you should give them a call before the heart of severe weather season arrives, because even only a few missing shingles can cause some major problems.
The asphalt shingles are made for water to run down. You know, once you're missing any one of the components from an asphalt shingle roof, you're going to get water in your house at some point, and that's going to lead to more damage, interior damage, and more expensive repairs.
But before you make that call to your insurance company, check your policy. That'll give you a better idea of ways you might get them to increase or reconsider a roof repair claim. Well, international law enforcement is trying to figure out what happened to a Korean family who disappeared while vacationing along the I-40 in northern Arizona. The mother, daughter, and aunt missed a flight home out of San Francisco on Monday. Michaela Marshall has more.
It's been 1 week since a Korean family on vacation vanished without a trace in northern Arizona.
We have visitors from all over the world that come here. But yeah, it's a little unusual to have 3 go missing at the same time.
John Paxton of the Coconino County Sheriff's Office says the Korean consulate in Los Angeles notified deputies about this case on March 18th after this mother, daughter, and aunt missed a flight home out of San Francisco on the 17th. The trio was traveling from the Grand Canyon to Las Vegas in a rental car, a white 2024 BMW with a California license plate.
Whether they were flying from Vegas to San Francisco, I don't know. Maybe they were driving to San Francisco on the 14th or 15th. It's hard to say.
Paxton says the car's GPS last pinged on the I-40 near Williams around 3:30 in the afternoon on the 13th, about a mile from where there was a winter storm and deadly crash involving 22 vehicles at the same time. DPS is the lead agency on that crash, and we're told troopers are still working to identify all of the cars involved. Detectives don't know if this missing family was part of the fiery pileup.
Since the 13th, there has been no phone pings that we've seen, no phone calls, no credit card use. And that GPS, there's never been another point of that GPS on that vehicle. So that does make it difficult.
Investigators have driven all the roads in the area looking for the car and the missing women, and so far, there's no sign of them. Dog and helicopter searches have also turned up nothing.
We don't have any reason to believe there's any foul play.
The fatal accident and pileup on Interstate 40 involved 22 vehicles and 36 drivers and occupants, resulting in at least 2 fatalities and injuries to 16 people who were transported for medical care.